Hey, what is going on? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. I'm your host, the Dharma Guy, as always with the Dope Doctor. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
I'm tired today, man. I think you are as well.
Yeah, I am.
It's like a lackadaisical day for both of us, I believe.
Well, I've been waking up early for all these events, man. We did the proclamation in Orange County this morning. Yesterday morning was the news. I mean, it's like early, man. And then I had a Whopper. I had one of those
I think that's what messes both up.
The Impossible Whopper got me tired.
Yeah.
It's supposed to wake you up, I thought, that veggie food.
I don't know about that. But no, I'm definitely... I'm kind of tired, man.
I'm dragging.
I think mine's a combination of I stayed up late watching the football games.
Yeah.
Woke up a little bit early. And then also I'm going on vacation next week, so I got a case of the whatever. We'll deal with it. So
yeah.
Anyways, I digress. Having said that, for those of you who are watching this on Facebook Live, you might have seen us a little while ago. We finished up our sports show the morning after with Dope and Dharma, and that's a chance for us to kind of let our hair down a little bit. And maybe speak in ways
you didn't say that.
Normally wouldn't.
Okay.
Oh, he's doing his hair now, ladies. Anyways, so we discussed sports topics, mostly football, because that's what we're both interested in.
Why did I just do that?
I don't know. It's all on film, though, by the way, so that's awesome.
Not on the YouTube channel.
Anyways, having said that, it is now time for Dharma Time, so now we're going to put our serious hats on and talk about some stuff. Today's topic is self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Before we get to that, I got to do my normal rundown for everybody. Got to thank our sponsors. We got a couple of treatment facilities that we work closely with, and that is Retreat Behavioral Health, Journey Pure, and Gatehouse Treatment, all fantastic facilities, which we refer to quite frequently. Then you have Orange County Drug Free Coalition, which you were just at this morning for the proclamation. They've been a big supporter of the Couch Live and by proxy the network for 20 years. And then we have Now Matters More, of which you got the t-shirt on, and you were the founder. I'm the president. Right. You can see more about what we do at nowmattersmore.org, or you can call us at 833-NOW-MATTERS. That's 833-NOW-MATTERS.
Yep.
We will help you navigate the system.
Yep.
And then last but not least, we have Sports Subaru South, which they are still going to have their event coming up called Share the Love event. That's from November 15th to December 31st of this year, to where they're going to get a combined total of $500 per car purchased in that time frame to the Now Matters More Foundation. Very excited for that. Looking forward to it. Rumor has it it's going to be a pretty hefty check as well. So I'm excited about that. Right. And as always, you can follow us on social media. That's at WPSN99, at the Dharma Guy, at the Dope Doctor, and you can find us on YouTube.com/Dharma Time.
I like it.
I got it all out.
You did very good there, sir.
I got to admit, I have a cheat sheet in front of me though. I have it all written down.
Thank you very much.
So, anyways, so let's get started, man. Self-awareness.
Right. Self-awareness.
Full transparency here.
I am a lion.
Yeah, full transparency. We this topic is important to us both, I think.
Yeah.
And the only thing we have already preconceived for this particular show is the 3 tips, because I think it's important enough that we're going to be able to fill more than an hour on this one. But I think what made me think of it anyways, the reason why I called you over the weekend is I think this is a show that needs to be done, is I see so many people, like, and we'll use to kind of tack on a little bit, not much, but a little bit to the sports we were just talking about. I was watching, like, AB, for instance, Antonio Brown. For those of you who don't watch sports or pay attention to sports, Antonio Brown is a wide receiver for an NFL pro team, caused a little bit of trouble in some people's eyes, bounced around a little bit, and there's a lot of controversy that happened. But when you listen to him talk and you get his perspective on things, he sees himself a certain way.
Victim.
Yeah, I mean, among others. But the rest of us see it a different way. And I think that the thing that I've noticed, and I literally had this conversation last night. I won't say on there who it was with, but somebody I know is very close to me. Him and I were talking a little bit and going through some things right now. And I told him, look, use this as an opportunity to grow. Use this as an opportunity to kind of work on yourself and things of that nature. And I don't think a lot of people spend time doing that these days. I really don't. I think a lot of people, obviously I haven't done any like studies on this or anything, but just the people I know personally, I know how I used to view things prior to my spiritual journey. Even on my timelines and whatnot, I see a lot of people posting about things, and it just seems like a lot of people in today's world don't ask why enough. And I don't mean why other people do stuff. Why do I do this? Like this lack of self-awareness. Like, a lot of people seems that they don't understand their motivations behind things. They look at superficial values a lot of times, or superficial kind of reasoning, and then they just go with it. Like, oh, that's what it was. And I always screw this up. What is it? Some hierarchy of needs. I always screw it up. Maslow's. I don't think people are aware of that. I really don't. Like, I think we all think we're these unique, one-off, like, snowflakes. I use it on purpose, by the way. These one-off snowflakes or whatever. These one-off, like, we're so special and so unique that nobody in the world's like us, and we're so different, but we're not. And there's certain things that hold us all together, but I think that we as a society don't value self-awareness as much as we should.
No.
I think a lot of people don't realize...
We don't value personal responsibility.
That too. But I don't think a lot of people even realize why they do what they do. You know what I mean? Like, they don't understand what motivates them. Like, I think the example I used with you, what was it? I don't remember what day it was. It feels like we were just in here. The last time we were in here.
We were. Friday.
Yeah, so there you go. We were talking Friday, I think, and I was saying to you that the example I was using was, if I walk into a room, back when I was single, if I walked into a room and I saw 10 women in front of me who were all relatively attractive, why is it number 3? Why is it number 3 draws my attention more than the other 7 or the other 9? Because
it's a cool number. I like it.
It is. But it's like, I don't think people ask themselves why. Like, oh, well, it's because they're attractive. Well, so are the other ones.
Right.
Well, why that one? What is it about that one that piques your curiosity more than the other ones? And I think those are the things that we don't pay attention to. Like, I know in my case, it was the brokenness for some people. Like, I had an attraction to crazy. I had an attraction to brokenness.
But more importantly is, what is it about me that she's attracted to?
Correct.
Because maybe you have that wrong.
Well, it was both. It was I was the bad boy image, so I attracted women with issues, or women with daddy issues and brokenness. And I was attracted to that because that's what I was like. Right. I was surrounded with stuff as a kid, so that was what felt comfortable for me. Right. And I wanted to be a fixer. I wanted to help save. And so
you did?
Yeah, I was a fixer. Still am. I mean,
I definitely wasn't trying to fix anything.
I was a fixer. I knew that about myself. And I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to their motivations. I think they think that they know what motivates them. They think that they know.
Mine was so like, you just had me trying to think, because I mean, I don't have your luxury of like it being like less than a decade ago or whatever. You know what I mean? Or
right.
I'm here thinking, I'm going, dude, that's 28 years ago.
Well, you were a much different person back then as well.
So it wasn't about fixing.
Right.
Unless you're talking about getting them high. I mean,
giving them a fix.
Yeah, giving them a fix. I mean, I mean, literally, I just want to have a good time, and if you want to have a good time, I'd roll with you. If you don't want to have a good time, and you whatever. And
well, even in that, you can say what kept you from wanting to commit.
Well, the funny thing is that I think about like my male friends, right? That many of us are still in contact, and they would go through problems, or like everybody would have problems, right? My therapy session back then is, I'm just gonna get you higher, get you laid. that'll take care of that problem.
I think a lot of people would sign up for therapy if that's what it was.
It was just like, you just need a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but shh,
right.
I don't want to hear it.
Right.
And so it's weird that I actually became a counselor.
Yeah.
Considering I really didn't want to hear it, I just wanted to give you something to
well, even with the therapy thing, the way I explained therapy to somebody yesterday was even that I said, look, I don't think therapy is going to fix everything for anybody. I think because at the end of the day, if you see this person at best, usually an hour a week,
right?
There's a tremendous amount of other hours in the day that you have to do some work.
Life happens way too much.
Yeah, you can't just spend 1 hour a week with somebody and think that's going to solve all your problems. Right. And so for me, I said don't look to therapy as a solution. Look for therapy. To me, the way I explained it was, we have all this noise in our head, and we don't know what to make of it. And I think that noise prevents us from hearing things we need to hear or making the changes we need to make. Mm-hmm. And to me, I think that therapy helps quiet that noise. To me, therapy will help you quiet that noise a little bit, maybe make some sense of some things, and get it to where you're more receptive and more open to do that work yourself.
Okay.
Because you have to do the work yourself. It's impossible. Just like when I was training people as a fitness trainer, I see you, 1, 2, 3 times a week? Right. There's still 7 days of the week. If you do absolutely nothing the other 5 days and eat whatever you want, you can't train me 2 days and think that's going to have any effect on things. It's just not going to happen. So the same thing with therapy. If you don't take any intrinsic responsibility, if you don't read books, if you don't study things, if you don't watch, if you don't do something to grow, and you just say basically, well, I go to therapy once in that, it's not going to do anything. Yeah. It's completely worthless. All you're doing is sitting there for an hour telling your problems to somebody.
I would only add to it that you're absolutely right. I would add that therapy is actually, it's paying somebody to hold you accountable, because a lot of us are not going to hold ourselves accountable just
too.
by a friend or somebody else, because eventually our friends are just going to, like, they get tired of it.
Yeah,
but
and that's part of the noise.
Paying a professional, the professional's not going to get tired of it.
No,
and if they do, they need to get out of the business. What they're going to do is find other ways to just keep, holding you accountable.
Yeah,
but keep being that mirror for you to keep.
Yeah.
Holding you to what you said you wanted. All right, so let's go back to that initial session when we met. You came in originally saying you wanted blankety blank.
Right.
Yet you don't seem to be doing anything in between sessions about that.
Yeah, and to me, that's part of the noise. Right? Because, there's a multitude of ways somebody would go to therapy.
So that's how you're defining the noise.
Yeah, we obviously have the addiction world and stuff.
Right.
We also have relational problems.
Right, whatever it is.
We have tons of different things that we would go. And to me, we have this noise. We have these excuses. We have a lack of accountability. We have just noise. Stuff that keeps us from doing that work. And to me, that's what therapy helps do. It helps quiet that noise so you can focus on what you got to focus on and do what you got to do.
Well, it's almost like, when you say that, what I think about instantly is like the real importance of who you are is what you do on your downtime, what you're not working. What is it you do when you have like the ability to do anything you want? And that'll kind of show you kind of maybe what really motivates you.
Right.
Like there's people that on their downtime, they seem like busy as hell.
Right.
Like they do some like really big, and it's like, nah, bro. When I'm down, I have two speeds. I'm either doing something or doing nothing.
Yeah, I have to agree with
that. But I struggle with that middle speed. And like my wife sometimes will say, "Can I get a middle gear here? Like, can we put you in middle gear because you're either like running or you're stopped, but we need to get few little things done. So like that little honeydew list, no, because once I start, then I'm gonna, then I'm not gonna come down until it's like nighttime, and all I did all day with my day was like do your honeydews, and that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I have a honeydew list, and I usually just do it.
I don't have a honeydew list. Trinity.
I have a honeydew list.
Nope.
Nope.
But I have a pay to do list.
Yeah,
you
I agree on that one.
You better pay someone else to do it because I ain't doing it.
But to me, I think that I really do believe our lack of, collectively, our lack of self-awareness does hold us back. I do. I think, like even for myself, I think of a lot of the things that I've overcome in my life, or a lot of growth that I've had in my life,
right?
And it all stemmed from my willingness to see it for what it is. It was like, oftentimes we'll judge other people by their actions, and we judge ourselves by our intent. And so for me, like I had to stop doing that. I had to stop. Well, this is what I meant. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this is what happened, right? And you got to like address that. Right. And so it was one of those things where like, hey, if I'm doing so great and awesome and I've got all the answers, then why is everything around me shit at the moment? Right. I had to address that, and that was an actual conversation I had with myself. I had to stop and be like, wait a minute. And that was actually the beginning. That was the catalyst of my little quote unquote spiritual journey. Right. Was I thought that I had all the answers, and I looked around and realized like I don't. Like if I had all the answers, if I really truly thought I was right all the time, and everybody was just wrong and stupid, then why does my life suck right now?
Well, what was the hardest? What do you think the hardest thing was to do to admit or recognize about yourself? Do you have like a top 3?
The hardest things to recognize, I guess.
Yeah.
I think one of them was relatively recent, and this is just off the top of the dome. I haven't really given much thought to this actually. But I would say one of them was acknowledging how much my childhood did impact me in ways that I didn't think that it did. Like I did a lot of work to overcome a lot of that stuff, and I thought I was completely done with it.
Yeah.
And then little tiny things would peek their head up that I wasn't aware were related.
Right.
And so to step back and acknowledge that they are related, and I haven't finished doing that work yet, was probably one of the harder ones. Because when you think you've already kind of dealt with stuff, to then take a step back and realize maybe you didn't, that's a hard thing. Because that was a point of pride for me. It was like, look, I've done the work. I've dealt with it. And I did for the most part. But there was, even when you sweep, you don't get all of it. And there's tiny little things left over. You got to deal with those as well. I think that was definitely one of them. As far as like self-awareness. The other one that I would probably say I still struggle with today even, and part of the reason why I struggle it is because it's very difficult for me to see it as a problem. Right. And I think those are the hardest ones that you don't see as a problem but other people might, and that is my brashness, my straight, my communication style at times can be very direct, and it can be offensive to some people, and I think that it's always been a difficult thing for me to understand the value of tact. Right. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't have a whole lot of it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Part of me says I want it and I want to get better at it. The other part of me says, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
And so that's an internal battle I have. And then the problem is it bleeds over into like personal relationships with friends, family members, loved ones, that I inadvertently hurt feelings or inadvertently touch on people's sensitivities, and I don't mean to, but it creates chaos at times. And so it's just that right there is something I still struggle with, is learning how to balance those out. My need to have, or my desire to have peace, if you will, with others, while at the same token still trying to feel like I'm staying true to my belief system and just being direct with people. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
But I'm fully aware though. Like I know myself, so I'm not. If I say or do like, put it this way, you know, in the sense how you we've had this conversation numerous times, and you say Danny's your moral compass. Like,
right.
If you were to come to me for, hey, am I sounding like a prick at this moment? I'm more likely to be like, no, you sound fine.
Yeah, you're not the one I'd ask for that.
Like,
I would ask you that if I want you to say no. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, if you catch me on the right day, I might do it. But more often than not, I'm like, no, it sounds fine to me. What do you mean?
I would call Aaron Moore or Jack Levine if I wanted, the opposite.
And in my home, it's my wife, right? Like, there's numerous times where I want to say something. Like, I'll have somebody email me or text me or something that I know myself enough to know, before I respond to this, let me run it by my wife real quick. Let me just make sure, because I'll have people who reach out to me, ask me.
I never do that, man.
I didn't used to, but I've learned that, I've learned it by pissing off a lot of people. Like, even in my own home, I've learned I pissed my wife off so many times, and she'll be upset about something. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she'll explain to me how it hurt her. I'm like, what? How? What? Even to this day, there's things that she'll point out. It completely escapes me how she found that offensive, but she did.
Yeah. I always want to talk to somebody before I tell her, because I feel like she'll sway me either way, because I know I'll listen to her.
Yeah, well, that's
one
the other
way or
thing
another,
too.
and I'm like, no, I don't want her to make sense right now.
but I'll have somebody who will email me or text me or ask me for something or whatever it may be. They'll ask for whatever, and I'll think to myself like, okay, well, I don't want to do this, but I don't know how to let this person. I don't want to do it, but I don't want to hurt them. So what's the way of telling them no without really kind of destroying them and being a dick? And I'm aware enough of myself to know I'm going to inadvertently be a dick. So I'll ask my wife, I was like, hey, how do I say this? And she'll almost always say, oh, well, I would do it this way or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. And sure enough, it works, because that little part of my brain is just not working. And so to me, I think those would be for me, my top ones that I've had to deal with. Those are only two. I know you asked for three, but I can't think of a third.
No, it doesn't have to be three. I'm just like the top few. I mean, you hit on mine. Tact was my number one.
Right.
That was the one my brother used to say, you need to develop tact.
Right.
And I didn't know what the word meant, to be honest with you, man. But he goes,
I learned that word when I was in my early teens, because my mom told me I had to.
Yeah, my brother would always say it, man. He was like, it's like, because he said, I say the same thing you say, but I say it in a way where it can be accepted. You come off like aggressive and like you just say it wrong.
But see, that annoys me. If I'm honest, not to interrupt, but that annoys me.
Right.
If you're going to tell me to screw off, just tell me to screw off. Like, I have more.
So you want me to go back to the way I was? Is that what you're saying? I was right?
I'm just saying I have more personally.
Jimmy, I was right.
I have more respect for the person that could just come to me like, look, dude, screw off. I don't like you.
No, he does though. No, but that's the thing. If you want, he's not a salesman. He's
like,
not
I don't want the BS.
No, Jimmy's not a bullshitter. No, but he's right. He says it in a way though. He's saying it.
Right.
But when he's saying it, he's not saying it in a dickish way. He's just kind of letting you know.
Right.
Whereas when I used to say it, and it's very different than how I say it now I could do what he does, because now my wife says that's one of my greatest gifts. I could tell anybody just about anything when it's real hard information,
right,
and they seem to get it. They take it.
Right.
So, but before it wasn't like that. Like, it was more important to be loud about it, or to kind of like force it down their throat. And so I may still sometimes sway on the loud and forcing, and I think but that's really something else. It's more my aggressiveness, which I still am working on. It's hard to view me to be honest, it hasn't been to the last few years that you even heard me use the word aggressive towards me. Right. I would say, no, I'm not. I would defend that I'm not aggressive.
Sure.
But my daughters have taught me that I'm aggressive, because they're the ones that say, Dad, you don't understand. It is. It's like you're like in the face. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and my mother-in-law would say that, like, having an argument with you is like impossible, and instead of viewing it like damn straight,
right,
it was like, I don't want her to feel like that. Wait a minute, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And then when she explained it, I was like, well, shit, I don't want to.
Right.
No, I don't want to be that dude. I'm sorry. So I still kind of.
Yeah, I think we all have that.
I still struggle with that because I'm not trying. I really don't want to be as aggressive as I am, but unfortunately, there's times also that I do want to smack the shit out of you. So it's kind of like I do it with my words. So, until the day I don't want to smack the shit out of you anymore, I think I'm still going to be a little aggressive.
Well, I think that's a.
So how do I get there?
Well, I guess that's part of it, right? That to me is one of the things that needs to be addressed in today's show is understanding or like how to ride that line, right? Like how do you
and being aware that that's really what I want to do. So when I hurt your feelings, I'm not going to be the guy who's going. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, here's what I'll tell you. Yeah, no, I was smacking you. Yeah, I was verbally. I was. So I'm sorry that you caught that. You know what I mean? I'll try not. You know.
I guess the thing is how do you balance the part of yourself that says I know that this needs to be modified with the party who's like I don't want to modify it. Like I like being this, because aggression is something I struggle with as well, and I struggle with it in the sense of there's times where I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to make people feel that way. But then there's another part of me that's like get over it.
I got to be honest. It's when I get out of me and I get more into the servant of who I am.
Yeah.
When I think about me as a servant rather than Louis.
Yeah.
So if I think Louis, if I third party me, I'm screwed. You know what I mean? If I think Louis is feeling like this or you're doing this to Louis, if I start thinking of myself as a third party, I'm screwed. But if I look at me as a servant, the dope doctor has saved my life, to be honest with you. Being the dope doctor for so many people and being a servant to others that really saved my life because when I'm the servant, I'm a lot more humble and understandable.
It's not about you.
That's right. It's not about me at all. And the other one I was going to tell you, one of the hardest things to learn in this topic we're talking about is also accepting that I am a good person. Right. I did not view myself as a good person. I viewed myself as an end result of all my actions, or an end result, or that all the thoughts that I had, even the things that I didn't do, that's who I am. Instead, wait a minute.
Wow.
You're allowed to have thoughts.
Let's hope not.
It doesn't make you who you are. These are thoughts. Yeah. There's a lot of people that think what you thought. Some people live them out. Those people, that's different.
Those are bad ones.
But you didn't. And then the stuff you did do, that doesn't define you because at the end of the day, you're not doing those today. Right. And there's other factors that played into the mix of when you did do them. You know what I mean? Not giving me excuse for when I did do them, but so Dana used to say that I wouldn't accept positive things. People would say, "Oh, you're a good person." They would compliment me, and I didn't know how to accept compliments. So my self-esteem would not let me accept compliments. So I had to learn how to. I am a good person. You're right. I'm not who I think I am. Maybe I am as good as Dana thinks I am. And I like the way she views me. I like to be the guy that Dana sees me as. So when she sees me as something different, that's why you hurt my feelings, babe. When you talk to me or say things to me of not the guy that I like that you vision, I'm like, dude, if that's who you see, then I'm really hurt or angry. Those are fighting words there.
Yeah,
and they know how to do that, don't they?
Oh, better than anybody.
Man, wow.
But yeah, I mean, I think, and all this kind of comes back down to the self-awareness, and I think you hit it right on the head. Is the servitude part of it, and that is, even for me, the whole Dharma Guy thing. Like, I feel like I'm at my best when I'm trying to do something for somebody else.
Yeah,
I do. I feel like when I'm doing something for myself, that's when I tend to get aggressive. That's when I tend to get self-centered, things of that nature. When I'm trying to help others is when I'm more calm, cool, and collected. That's when I'm more, quote-unquote zen-like, if you will.
Right.
But I think for those individuals struggling with that, that's when you got to sit down and really ask yourself, what do you want? Right. What is it your goal? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Right. I don't mean in front of you. I mean theoretically, what is it that you want to be in this world? How do you want people to view you? How do you want people to see you? And what does that person do? Right. That person that you see yourself as, that person that you want to be, how does that person respond to situations? How does that person act? That's your goal.
The harder is, not to be disrespectful to all the people out there that know me or anything like that, but for me, it's more like I don't want to die, and that's who my girls see me as.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want them to be telling a story about their father and my father was, and then it'd be a bunch of things that I'm like, that's not, because they already see things, right? They already see things differently. And so you kind of hope that you don't die before they're out of these teen years.
Yeah.
So you can get the dad of me that's not all riding your ass all the time. But anyway, that's my measure now. Went from Dana being my moral compass to be honest with you, a lot of it is like Dalia.
Right.
Like Dalia saying positive things about me because she's my oldest and she's very sweet. She's so Dana. So she's that so sweet. So if she sees me poor, that really hurts me. That's bad.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, so you put it on a certain kid, right? Like, and then with Zoe is like, we're in that age where we're allowed to ruffle and tuffle.
Right.
We already went with that with Dalia, and Dalia's on the sweet side again. So
right.
They get man. Wait till you go through this trip.
Yeah, I mean, I go through some of it now. I mean, I have different ages throughout the house.
Yeah, I'm talking about that 17, 18-year-old age is a trip.
Yeah, I think...
I'm 18. It's like,
okay. For me, I think that... and it was my kids. It was my kids and a little bit my wife, but more so my kids because they came first.
They do it. They came first. That sounds so backwards.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, it is what it is.
I know.
But no, I'll be honest, man. Like, what really kind of made me self-aware, really kind of... finally cemented that was my kids, because I know, like, I had a great example of what not to be, and I know how much that hurt as a kid, and I know, like, I knew all the pain associated with just a messed up mentality, no matter what it is, just messed up, be physically vigilant, whatever, doesn't matter, and I knew the kind of torment that it causes later on, and so I made a point that I was like, dude, I got to make changes for my kids. Like, I knew my daughter was coming. She was the first one coming, and my initial reaction was like, oh god, I got a kid. Like, I didn't know what to think. I didn't want kids at the time, but I did a lot of introspective thinking, and you may or may not relate to that, I don't know, but I know, like, because you got 9 months, man, like months and months and months, and so I went from not wanting them at all. I didn't want kids. I didn't want anything to do with that, and then, I wasn't in a great relationship at the time either, but I had this weird sense of, like, loyalty, this weird sense of nobility that nothing was going to keep me from doing whatever I had to do to be there, because I knew what the opposite was, and it wasn't fair to them, kind of thing. So I spent a lot of days just introspectively just thinking. Like, I'm talking, like, at the time I was working nights, and there was many days where I was very talkative and everything else. There was many days where I was just sitting in the break room, just dead silent, just sitting there. And my friend's like, what's wrong with you? Nah, man, it was really heavy on my head. Like, this is like a big moment for me. And like one of the first things was saying the words, I love you. I didn't say them to anybody, to my mom, nobody. Just did.
Dana's my first.
I felt dirty saying those words, and it sounds silly now, but once again, I had to become self-aware. Right. Like, I had to be aware of, like, wait a minute, I don't say this. This is why I don't say this. And then, why? Why does it make me feel dirty? You know what I mean? And I still never quite figured out that answer, but I did know that it doesn't matter. I got to stop.
You still don't know?
No, I still don't know why I did. I'm free with it now, dude. I don't give a shit. I say it to anybody if I have to. So I overcame it without knowing what was inhibiting me from feeling comfortable with it, but I knew my little girl needed to hear it. I knew my little girl could not live in a world where her dad didn't say I love you. Like, she couldn't chase my love for the rest of her life. And so I knew it. So the second she was born, I just started telling it to her all the time. And I just broke myself out of that habit to where when my son came, I was just like, Dad, I say it all the time now. That was like a big catalyst for me, was my kids coming. That was what made me feel, it was like it hit a button inside of me that says, you got to make some changes, bro. Right. I made a lot of changes up to that point to get to where I was, but I wasn't ready. Like, I wasn't ready to be who I needed to be for those around me. It was the birth of my daughter, like, her coming was when I said, all right, you got to change some stuff, dude. And I did. I overcame. Some stuff I figured out, other stuff I just faked it until I made it, and then I overcame it that way. But yeah, I'd say it was my kids, and it still is. It still is to this day. If I say or do something, in an aggressive tone, and it hurts my wife's feelings, it bothers me, but not as much as it bothers me when I hurt, like, my little girl's feelings or my son's. And I know I probably shouldn't feel that way, but it does. Like, I don't like hurting my wife's feelings, of course. But we're all adults, and I could justify it. Well, she did, I can get into that game, but there is no justification for my kids. They're still kids. They're looking to me to learn, and so I think for me, if I do something that hurts one of my kids' feelings, I can't help it. I picture my dad. I picture me being. I was like, I don't want to be that, and so I'll go in and apologize. I'll explain to them what's going on. I'm still firm with them, but there's a way to be firm without being an asshole. And so every day I do my best.
There's a fine line.
It is. And every day I do my best to be aware of that. Like, I know how I want to come off, But when I'm looking at my kid, and if they're crying or something like that, well, obviously I didn't come off the way I wanted to. They're not perceiving it that way. So I need to modify this at the moment.
I think there's a trick there. Is to, when I do best at that is when I think I have nothing to lose anyway. I can be I can forgive right now and be soft, and I'm talking about with your loved ones, right? I can go in there and like throw it out and just talk normal because I have nothing to lose. At the end of the day, I love this person. This person's in my life forever.
Right.
What's the big deal? So I lose a few points. Now with a kid, the problem is it's like you got to be careful to not develop a sense of entitlement. They already have a sense of entitlement, so I don't want to feed into that, or I don't want to feed into them not recognizing things within themselves, right? Yeah. But I think you could teach self-awareness by being self-aware.
Yeah.
So instead of telling the kid, "Do you see what you're doing? Do you see what you're doing right now?" It's this is what I'm doing right now. I see what I'm doing right now, and start explaining what I'm doing, and hoping that they say, "Well, this is what I see in myself."
Yep.
But the problem is that to get there, you got to go through that's exactly what you did, and that's why I did that. See? Yeah, you were being that. Or remember what you did? Remember? You even admitted that you were doing that. So you're going to get some of that.
Of course.
But you got to just hope, no, I'm still teaching.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they'll repeat my behavior at the end of the day.
Yes.
They're not going to repeat it today.
No, but they will
later. They're going to piss me off later.
Yeah.
But they're going to hear me now and listen later.
Yep.
And that's the deal. And so that's the only way I can get through that. Because if I get stuck in me, if I get stuck in selfish, no, I want them to feel pain right now. F this. I don't care who it is. You know what I mean? And then that's when I get in cold mode, and my wife would be like, "You're really cold." And when she tells me that, then I know I'm in cold mode, and that's not cool. Because then that means everybody can just.
Yeah,
I really don't care. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I gotta put me in a jail cell right now, and I'm good. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, I got to be very careful because I have a tendency of getting to that very disconnected kind of like, whatever. I don't give. And that's I think that's hard for children and even wives sometimes.
I think it's hard for females to see.
Yeah, it's hard for them to feel that disconnectivity because it's like, whoa, like how could you just go? They take it personal, like it has any bearing. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, right.
It could be anybody. That's just how my mechanisms work. Yeah. But once again, I'm aware of that.
Right, and the guys I've been around can understand that, but the females don't.
Correct.
So I don't know if it's a male-female thing, to be honest with you, but I do know the kind of men I've been around compared to the kind of women, it is. Even though the women like in my family can do that. Right. My mom can cut you off in a second. Right. So, but what I'm saying is the women that I've chosen, like my wife, and then the women that I've had, my children, they're very different.
Yeah, and I'm not going to call that.
Well, Zoe, I don't know. Zoe could probably disconnect.
Yeah,
she's got my genes 100%.
But for me, that's kind of the point, though, I'm making, right? Is being self-aware. Like I'm aware that that's a problem, and I'm aware that I'm capable of doing that.
And that's what I want in them. Isn't that what you want in your kids? Don't you just want them at least to be aware that? Because like even when they lie or even if they manipulate, I tell them I'm going to reward you right now, but I know what you're doing. I want you to know that I know what you're doing.
Yes.
But I want you to admit that you're doing it.
Yes.
Because if you can admit that you're manipulating right now, you're lying right now, okay.
Yeah, I've had that exact conversation more specifically lately with my 15-year-old. Because she's getting to the age of 15 where she's wanting certain things. And she's learning how to play the system a little bit. And I'll see it from a mile away. I'm like, I know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. And then I'll get frustrated, and she'll try to play like she doesn't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand what you're saying right now.
What are you talking about? I was like, stop. I know. Yeah. I was like, so you mean to tell me you weren't trying to do this? Well, exactly. Like it is what it is. You did it, but come on, don't play me for a fool. Right. Like I know what you were doing.
Right. So my emotion is triggered from that.
Yeah.
It's not triggered towards you. It's not personal. It's triggered from what I'm reading over here.
Yeah. And so, but that's to me, it's important to point those things out because I don't want them to grow up to be the person that is completely unaware of who they are, what they do, and why they do it. Right. And because to me, I think that right there holds us back. And I've said it for years to my family, to my friends, everybody. We all make mistakes. We all do stupid things. We all do selfish things. We all do whatever. I don't care about those. It is what it is. You can bounce back.
Right.
But it's the bounce back that I care about.
And not all lessons are learned in one day. They're not learned today.
No.
I don't know any that are learned today.
Yeah. And so
they all just gradually happen.
Yeah. And so for me, it's like whenever I see one of those types of issues happen, I always try to do my best to explain to my kids, like, I get it. You did it. You messed up. We can get over it. We can talk about it. We can adjust it. It's no big deal. But you got to be aware of it. Like, If you don't have any sort of intrinsic motivation to learn, if you don't have any sort of awareness, like that's the problem. Not the fact that you did this. That's not a problem. Like I tell my 15-year-old all the time, I was like, dude, you're 15. I expect a certain amount of stupidity.
Right.
You're 15. I expect you to push the boundaries. I expect you to do some stupid stuff. I expect you to make bad decisions. I expect you to be a little attitude sometimes. Like I expect all. I would prefer not, but I expect it. You're 15. Like you're gonna behave 15. But what I also want is for you to be aware of those. You know, I don't want to see the same mistake over and over and over again. I want you at some point to realize, you know what, I've been here before. You know, that's what I'm looking for. And I think that's a skill. I think that's something we learn over time. Yeah. I don't think that's something we develop immediately, but I think that we do need to see the importance of it.
Yeah, I think if you're a young person, if any person really, but more younger, if you say that's just the way I am, that's that. Oh,
stop.
I hate that.
Stop. That's how you've learned to be.
That when someone says, especially if they're really young, says that's just who I am.
Yeah.
It's just you are accepting yourself to be subpar. What you're saying is you don't see it, and then you refuse to see it, and you're okay with not seeing it.
Yeah.
So you're failing in this conversation, or you're failing in this relationship, or you're failing to see another side. You're failing to even view another perspective. That's what you're saying you're okay with that.
Yeah.
That I have a problem with that.
Well, the other thing that I have a problem with, and we actually discussed this a long time ago, actually over a year ago, in one of our it was the personal growth episode. It's on YouTube. It's actually the #1 viewed one we have.
Good.
Yeah. And we kind of addressed it there, but so I'm gonna repeat it now for those who haven't been watching for over a year. One of the things I have a problem with is this, like, okay, I'll put it in an analogy to make more sense. There's a lot of people in my life that I know, and whatever they're interested in, be it video game, be it cars, be it whatever it is, piques their curiosity, they will go out of their way, and they will find ways of spending hours scrolling on their phone, getting caught in that Google loop where you Google something, you tap on this. They'll spend hours researching like this video game or this car or this book or whatever it is that they're interested in. Tell them to take 20 minutes a day to read a book that's going to help them deal with themselves a little bit better, whatever. Won't do it.
No.
Like, for whatever reason, we have this idea that we're good, we're fine, it's everybody else, I'll make it through the day.
Right.
You know, if they got a problem with it, they'll no, dude, that's on you. Be self-aware. You are the problem.
I agree.
You know, you are not who you think you are.
Right.
If you have 9 people around you and they all see you a certain kind of way, maybe you really are just that kind of way. Right. And maybe it's time for you to acknowledge that and grow. And say, you know what? Maybe I am this way. Why? Why am I doing this?
Right.
And there's no shortage of literature out there that you could read from fantastic authors that you could just 20 minutes a day, read a couple pages, read a chapter a day. Read. Like, we are in a society that we're so intellectual and yet we don't read. I talk my kids, I tell them, I don't like to read. First of all, yes you do, because you'll sit there and read bullshit all the time, number one. You just don't want to read about yourself because it's boring. And number two, stop reading. Like, really, like, there's people out there who can't read, who would give anything to know how to read. Like, that's how they've controlled entire populations of people, is to keep them from reading. That's a really important skill to have. And you just, I don't want to do it. You lazy, entitled little shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even young people, it's everybody. Like, I just come across so many people that they just won't take the time to read a book. And I'm not talking about like a pamphlet. I'm talking about read a book, you know, for the sole purpose of, I'm going to better myself.
You know, you also said, though, that if people view you a certain way, you know, maybe that's true.
Maybe.
Well, but here's the problem. That some of us will surround ourselves around people that don't view us that way.
A bunch of yes men.
Yeah, so the people that are saying that may know you better or may love you differently.
Yes.
And so that's why they're saying it. Whereas your yes people,
yeah,
they might have worse problems or problems themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's not in their best interest to change you because you're saving them from their hellhole or wherever the hell. Yeah. So it's not in their best interest to have conflict with you. They probably have some crappiness on the left.
Yes.
So why do they want to come over to the right and have more crappiness? But think about the people who are telling you and what is their real motive. And, you know, if does that person really just want conflict? I mean, you do really believe that the only reason this person is doing this because they always want to ride you, or they always want to have conflict with you? No.
Or criticize you?
Yeah, they don't want to criticize.
I think
that's
it's
not
safe
their
to
motive.
assume. I've never met anybody in my life that wakes up with the sole purpose of ruining another's life every day. I haven't met that many people that just wake up and like, I'm completely bored. I think I want to go completely harass this loved one all day.
Even serial killers say good morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they go kill people.
Exactly. And even serial killers take a day off.
Yeah.
They're not killing 24/7.
It's like, man, and I think when you're talking about self-awareness, you just gotta take time out and be like, well, how often have I just sat back and took inventory, or when's the last time I took real inventory? And I think that's why I like, like the recovery programs or the 12-step programs.
Me too.
Because
I love them for that reason.
You're doing a daily inventory of yourself, and I think when you do that, it allows you to clean the closet a little bit. Whereas, if I go into my garage, I know the last time I cleaned out my garage, and that's why it's a friggin' mess. Whereas if I was the kind of person that always dealt with the garage every weekend, it wouldn't be a mess.
Right.
If you just did a little bit a day or a little bit a week, the place would be spick and span. The way it is what it is because, neglect. Oh my God, there it is. I haven't seen that since 1982. That kind of attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, and that's part of it. And we had similar shows in the past where we just, sometimes you got to call a duck, man.
Right.
Like, once again, you can't. There was actually a story that kind of fits with this a little bit. My wife and I were watching the show. What was it? Naked and Afraid. Right? We used to watch the show.
Oh, I just finished about that. Did I get in touch with you about the ending?
The Alone?
Not Alone. That's what I meant.
No, you have not. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it later.
So anyways, so Naked and Afraid, my wife got on this trip where she was like running these marathons, watching them, right? And occasionally I'll join her and watch them. There's this one guy in there. I think his name is Charlie. I can't remember. Some older guy, ex-military. He's like 50 years old, whatever. He's a nice guy, but he's failed every single one. Right, every single time.
He was with the young girl and stuff like that. Is that the one that really had a fight with the young girl?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I just know that he's had a couple of the smaller 21 days, and then he's had a couple of the 60 days, and like I know one of them he hurt his knee, like he ACL injury, like he fell, and they had to remove him, and then his last one he had like I don't know, some sort of fever or whatever, like for medical reasons they had to take him out, and I remember telling my wife, like everybody was like so in love with this guy, and they were so like. Sad when he left and all these other things. And I'm like, I don't understand why everybody's so into this dude when he's failed every single one he's been on. Like, there's other people who have won every single one, and they all hate this person, and they nitpick, like, their behavior and everything else, instead of saying, wow, this dude's obviously successful. Let me figure out what he's doing right. No, they all gravitated towards this dude because he made them feel a certain kind of way. But he's failed at the only thing he's out there to do. Right. And so I told my wife that. I was like, and she immediately got offended because she liked him. She's like, he hasn't really failed. He was like, but he did fail. And she was like, no, he was evacuated. I was like, yeah, but that's a failure.
Yeah,
like,
what was the objective?
Unless he went there with the objective of getting taken out for medical reasons, anything other than that is a failure.
Yeah.
He went out there to accomplish X amount of days and survive them all, and he didn't come out. He did not, so therefore he failed. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. I'm not saying it's a horrible thing to watch, and I'm so bad. All that's great, but it doesn't change the fact. And the fact is he failed. And so I think that's kind of where we're at, though, right? Is where we're at in this
bad.
In this society. We're at in this thing where it's no longer calling it as it is. Like, it's no longer, well, I'm being a dick right now. You're right. It's, well, you're being too sensitive, or it's, well, you don't understand. I've had a rough day. Okay, but you're still being a dick. Like, you got to see it as it is. You can't make your excuses don't matter to the person who's being offended at the moment. Like, it doesn't matter, And so, to me, I think that's part of the self-awareness is you got to step back and see it for what it is factually, not your interpretation of it. Not even necessarily other people's interpretation, because who knows? Maybe they have. See it for what it is. There's a difference between truth and fact. Right. And I have this debate a lot in my life. There's truth and then there's fact. Mm-hmm. Our truths might be different, but we have to agree on fact. We have to agree on a certain set of things that we all just say, yes, this is factual.
Well, just ask yourself, I mean, how better would your world be if your feelings didn't get hurt as much as they do? So what's more likely, to develop a thicker skin and an understanding that truth is painful, but it still means that it may be true?
And make no mistake,
it doesn't make it false.
And make no mistake, if you say you're the type of person when my feelings don't ever get hurt, whenever you get upset, whenever you get angry, your feelings got hurt. Don't get it twisted. Anger and crying are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They're just showed differently.
Right.
But the same feelings that prompt you to cry and feel sad and victimized are the same feelings that cause you to get angry and lash out.
Right.
You just handle it differently. Let me say that again. It's the same thing. So don't think that because you cry, you're more of a victim than the person that got angry, or vice versa. No, you both felt hurt and you responded to it different ways. But trust me, if you're that dude that's raging out and stuff,
right,
you're raging out because you're hurt.
Right.
You're trying to puff your chest up, and you're probably afraid of being vulnerable at that moment. But that rage didn't just come out of nowhere. You had an expectation, it didn't get met. You got angry because you were hurt. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think that needs to be said.
No, and I think that's fine that you did that, and I think that
just because when you said if you're out there being hurt, I can hear like a ton of people. I don't ever get hurt. I didn't hurt my feelings. Right. Yes, it did.
Yeah, and if you say I don't care what people think, or I don't care what you think.
Yes, you do.
The fact that you say it says you care. Because if not, you would just go, all right, yeah. That's good. I'm gonna listen to that. I'm gonna think about it. Because if you didn't care what I thought, you wouldn't care that if I thought you lost or won.
Yeah.
But you want me to know that I'm not bothering you. You want me to know that you're not affected. You want me to know that you're tough or you can handle it. That means you care what I think.
Exactly.
So let's just be honest with that. That if I could do away with feeling hurt, then I wouldn't respond in emotion. And I would respond more logical. Now, here's the problem with this whole deal, is that we don't want to be Spock.
No.
And if for those of you that don't know, I mean, I don't even know why I know. I know because I came from a generation where Star Trek was a show and it was everywhere and stuff like that. So you may not know.
Vulcan.
But the point is that we had this character on television called Spock, and he was so logical that he took all the humanness out of him. So sometimes he would make decisions that were just so logical that they weren't human.
Yes.
So let me say it this way. I'm not a robot. So the same things that can hurt me, which are my feelings, are the same things that make me lovable in human. Yeah. So and that vulnerability is okay. Don't lose your humanness, but then admit it. So the point is to say, look, that hurts my and what's weird is when I tell my wife stuff like that, she uses that against me sometimes when she's mad because she's like, oh, am I hurting your feelings? Like it's like Louis, Big Bad Louis with his feelings, something like that. It's like, oh, you doing it. You're doing it. You know what you're doing. I said, yeah, I got feelings. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm going to go cry about it. I'm just telling you what you're doing. You're attacking. You're trying to incite me. So the point is for me to say it. What you do with it is on you, but at least I'm saying it.
Right.
So what I'm asking you to do, really, is just at least admit that my feelings are being hit one way or another.
Yeah.
Whether it's my ego, whether it's my machismo, whether it's my success, or my fears, my anxieties, my sadness, my insecurities. It doesn't matter. Feelings are attacked by all of that stuff, and we all have them. Everybody on earth has insecurities. Yep. Everybody on earth has fears. I don't care if you have no fear on the back of your pickup truck with the balls hanging from the back tailgate. You still have feelings.
Yes,
you just deal with them differently.
Yeah, or you
That's
hide them.
all. Yeah.
And to me,
but we see them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. To me, the true person isn't the true strong person isn't the one that pretends that they have no feelings and no hurt and no whatever. Because that to me is you're weak. You're weak. You're so weak to the point you're so fragile that you can't even admit you have something because that destroys your whole sense of self at that point.
Right.
To me, the true strength is the person that has those things, can admit them, and still continue on with the day.
Right.
Like, yeah, I have them. Yeah, it hurt me. I'm going to continue on, but I'm going to acknowledge that this took place. Right. I'm feeling hurt at the moment. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling whatever it may be, but I'm going to continue.
And here's another one. I'm gonna go a little bit further, and this will hit home for you because I think before tattoos were the accepted thing, tattoos were proof that person has feelings. Tattoos were proof that person is journaling, that person has some emotions that they're struggling with. Before they became just a fashion statement, and now there's other reasons why people may have tattoos. Right. But when they first came around, first of all, when they first really came around, they were just a badge, like Navy, like something real simple. But I'm talking
the original ones were like war paint and stuff.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like something military or something like that.
Well, they were the the Polynesians and like back in the island, like.
Well, I'm just talking about American.
Yeah,
come on, man.
I'm just saying.
You're gonna take me to another country here. So. I'm talking about the American culture of tattoos. But then, as it developed, it became
outlaws.
It became, but it wasn't really just outlaws. Now that's how our television shows it. But who we saw do it were people that lost their dads, were people that lost family, were people that had a lot of loss that we called outlaws because they didn't listen to rules, because they didn't have parents, or they lost their parents, or they lost a very dominant parent, or they were some side of angry. And so they started painting themselves, because what they were telling you is, look, I'm big and bad and I'm angry. And so it was letting you know, I'm big, bad, angry, mean. It was already telling you. It was projecting. Just like the kids that were goth and were getting all dark. They were letting you know, I don't really care what you think. The system doesn't relate to me. I'm not part of you. I'm not Maul. I'm this. Wow. You know, look, our look means something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's how our feelings were done. So we can think whatever, but we see you. We see your feelings. You just don't think we do.
Yeah.
The ones that you don't see their feelings are the real scary ones, and that's the Jeffrey Dahmers of the world.
Yeah.
The serial killers, those are the ones that I'm concerned with. Not the ones that look like Trinity or look like me, because you see our feelings. You can see it on us by the way we present ourselves, by the way we are. But those ones that look kind of invisible.
Yeah, those are the ones to worry about.
And I don't want you to be that
Still water runs deep.
Yeah, I don't want you to be that one. But I also want you to admit that if you look like us, there's reasons you look like this, and there's reasons you carry yourself like this. Now it becomes more of like, that's just what we're so accustomed to. It is who we are. But how it became in the first place, there was a reason to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think I got him with the intended purpose consciously.
You don't know it.
Yeah.
No.
But I think that what drew me to it was the figures that I saw with them were like badasses.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was so attracted to tattoos in the first place.
Yes.
Had it been a bunch of other things that I didn't look up to at the time, or things that I ridiculed or whatever doing them, then I wouldn't have associated coolness with it.
You wouldn't have done it.
I wouldn't have been as attracted to them.
Nope.
But historically, no. I mean, when I was growing up, tattoos were all badass.
That's right.
You know, they were all like...
That's right.
The leaders and the angry ones, whatever, people I wanted to emulate, people I looked up to. So,
except for that one that everybody got in the '90s, that little
tribal band,
the tribal band around the arm. That one tattoo.
Yeah, I have a really funny story about that, but I don't think it's appropriate to say on here. Remind me to tell you that after we go off.
All right.
It was a really funny story.
Funny.
But anyways, but yeah, I think that you know, I think there's true value into knowing yourself, self-awareness. I think that a lack of self-awareness, to me, interferes with your ability to find that inner peace
and grow.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're all looking to be happy. We have different definitions of what that is. We have different ideas to get there, but we're all looking for this unfetteredness known as happiness.
And that's what really quiets the noise.
Yeah,
that's what really shuts off the noise.
Well, the inner peace that comes with, I know myself. Yeah. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. Like, that is what provides inner peace. That sense of understanding what is happening and why it's happening gives you inner peace. And without that, I think you're going to constantly fight this little battle within yourself and with those around you. And so, to me, there's true value in self-awareness. And I don't mean, you know, superficial self-awareness. I just no. And you don't have to tell it to somebody else if you don't want.
Right.
I recommend it. I recommend either going to a therapist, or I recommend finding a friend that you feel has insight and wisdom that can kind of help bounce some of these off of. But if you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine. Have the conversation with yourself then. Like, you have to have it is the point. And you have to come to terms with that. You have to admit your vulnerability. Because no matter how badass you think you are, no matter how tough you think you are, no matter how distant or not caring, you do.
Right.
Yes, you do.
And also, it doesn't matter if you think you learned your lesson. If you're out there and you've gone through a lot, I'm not saying, you know, you haven't gone through a lot in your life. A lot of people have. And we have, but we're going to go through more.
Yeah.
And we're still going to go through more stuff that's going to teach us more stuff. The point is that regardless of what you have experienced in life, but the more you can accept and the more vulnerable you can become to that, the more you're able to keep evolving to tomorrow's problems, to tomorrow's issues, because there's always going to be some other turn. It's just not over, you know.
I wish it was, but
no, don't say that. You know, but the fact that we can still kind of be around tells us we're still evolving. You know, we still have to evolve even more. And this next generation, as annoying as it can be at times, is the next generation. And, you know, it's not meant for you, so I don't have to like it. You know, I joke with you all the time. It says, I'm not going to be around when they really have to deal with some of this stuff. So it doesn't matter. You know, I'll be dead and gone. I'm going to be that old man, and I'll sound old manish and do old manish things. I already am.
We already are.
So I don't need to care what, you know, the kids tomorrow. I don't need to worry about kids tomorrow. You know, let them handle it. They're more prepared to deal with each other more than I am. Anyway, I'm going to turn my mic off and let you finish off the show.
Is it that time already, man?
It's pretty much. I mean, you got about 3 minutes.
Right on. Oh yeah, well it is that time. So I'm assuming that was your last words there.
Yeah, I think so.
So as always, we try to wrap up the show and do some the 3 tips, and I'm going to do that for you now. Give you some action plans, some rules of thumb, if you will. So the first one I'll put here for the tips is you are exactly who you are. Regardless of what you think, regardless of what you feel, regardless of what you're told, you are who you are. You can't deny that. Well, you can. You just look foolish at that point because the rest of us see it, and even you see it, no matter how much you deny it. So just understand that simple fact that you are exactly who you are. And then that leads me to my second point. And the second point is that may not be exactly who you think you are. In other words, your ego might be telling you you're one thing, but reality might be telling you you're something else. So just understand, number one, you are exactly who you are. Number two, that person might not be who you think you are, which leads me to the third one, and that's okay. You can change it. You can modify that and you can change that, but you can only do it if you accept who you are first. You have to accept, this is who I am, this is the truth, these are my insecurities, these are my vulnerabilities, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and that's okay. Now let me build upon that. But if you continue to deny yourself, you continue to see yourself other than what you are, you continue to do that, to be dishonest with yourself, you're going to never grow because you're building on a false foundation there. So having said that, I think that's all we got for today. Make sure you guys tune in, share this with your friends, family, anybody you think can get value from it. You can follow us on social media again, at WPSN99, at the Dharma Guy, at the Dope Doctor. You can watch this live and share it through youtube.com/Dharma Time, or you can always go to WPSN99.com and see all of our podcasts listed there. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.